I don't have another book. Y'all come on in. I'm finding another book. I still cannot find my I'm still here, y'all. I still can't find my tripod. I don't know what happened to my tripod. I looked in the car, it's not in there. I don't know what I did with it. I don't know where it is. So I'm gonna have to find it. This phone is so slow. Um, I wonder did that. Obviously it didn't. I probably should have used my computer. We went right to Oakland today and forgot to take that MacBook to the Apple store. So it's still not working. I'm trying to see if I can pull up some of the pictures um, from this particular incident and show you which uh, news agencies picked up the story. So it was not the Texas police, it was the Border Patrol agents who did this. So I'm going to read the story from the Texas Tribune since they are the closest uh, ones to this incident, if the story will come up. Source says Border Patrol agents criticized for treatment of Haitian migrants in Del Rio as U.S. tries to dissuade more from coming. And when they say more from coming, that means more Haitians from crossing the border there. It says Homeland Security agent, and then it lists his name, who we don't care. Warned would be migrants that your journey will not, warn the migrants that your journey will not succeed, and promised to investigate the actions of mounted agents at the Rio Grande. So this is what the agents looked like on horses with what appear to be whips hitting the Haitians who were trying to cross the border. Now, some people are saying that those were not whips. They were using the reins, the leather reins of the horse to hit some of the Haitians that were trying to run. There are more pictures. It says the Department of Homeland Security sent a message to migrants, particularly Haitians, attempting to enter the country through the southwest border. People coming to the United States illegally will be returned. Your journey will not succeed. So, comments in Del Rio comes as lawmakers and immigrants' rights advocates denounce the treatment of some Haitians by Border Control agents. Images and videos taken by journalists and widely shared on social media show agents on horseback charging and herding like animals, migrants attempting to cross the Rio del Grande, including an agent swinging his rein towards a migrant. On Monday, Mayorkas denied that agents whipped anyone, but said officials would investigate the facts. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki announced the agent's actions at a news conference in Washington, D.C. on Monday. I don't think anyone seeing that footage would think it was acceptable or appropriate. So the Border Patrol is on horses using the rein that you would use to ride the horse as a whip and swinging it at the people who are on, the Haitian migrants. And I think this is the photo that, people, this is one of the photos that is being circulated the most. So you mean to tell me, given the history of people of color, of black people being beaten with whips by white overseers on plantations, this white Border Patrol agent did not have enough sense not to commit an action that made him appear to look like a slave catcher or a slave master or, anything. So, in his mind, he really felt like what he was doing was okay. But that just goes to show how black people have no respect in this country by law enforcement, period. They never have. Law enforcement in this country started because of slave catchers and everything anyway, and it's always been, let's go out here, and the good old boys have always been like, let's go out here and round up these darkies. And that's exactly what this has turned into. I didn't read up on what's going on in Afghanistan and how the Afghanistan people, are going to be treated coming into this country, because I know that the United States will take care of anybody except for people of color. They will treat anybody correctly except for people of color. You gonna always get the short end of the stick. And we all know that. Like screaming at me and, writing this really derogatory message about, me not caring about black people that are missing. I just posted on my community wall about a young black man that has been missing. I didn't even hear about the story because the media is not covering it. And I bet you they wanted to do everything in their power to squash this story, but you know when something like this is seen, when a picture like this starts to circulate on social media, everybody is, all the black folks gonna come out and be talking about this. And the White House had to issue a statement. I know the White House was like, what are y'all doing in Texas? This is not what we told y'all to do. We told y'all to just round them up and take them back to Haiti. We didn't tell you to beat them. Now, I'm pretty sure the White House told the people in Texas, round them darkies up and get them on up out of here, because Texas is a sundown state. We don't want all of them people flooding into Texas. Now, I'm pretty sure the government told them, round them Haitians up and get them the hell out of here. Because it don't matter how Haitians try to come to the U.S. If they come by boat, they going to get stopped. They can't come by plane. They can't fly, because they don't have the resources to do that. But if they try to come by boat, they going to get stopped in the water. They getting stopped and they coming by feet. They running. These people are running from Haiti. They had a major earthquake there. The resources are bad. They don't have anywhere to live. It's not their fault that it was a major disaster there. And I'm pretty sure that the U.S. is just, doing barely enough for them because they don't want to help them anyway. I used to feel like the U.S. does not do enough for the people that are living here, for immigrants, for us to take on the challenges of every immigrant. And I still feel that to a certain degree. But if people are running from a situation that, you know, Haiti has been devastated. This is like they was just barely getting on their feet from, the earthquake that they had previous. Now this earthquake has, destroyed what little that they had. They're not just running here because they want to live here. They probably don't want to live here. They don't want to deal with the US. They don't want to live here, but they're trying to get to a country where, in hopes of living a better life. And I'm pretty sure if I was in a position like Haiti, I would be trying to get out also. And if the people of Haiti, I bet you, if it had been like white French people, because there are white people in Haiti also, if it had been a bunch of white Haitian refugees, I bet you they wouldn't have got herded like a bunch of animals. But the US is known for that. This is history repeating itself. This is the history of the United States repeating itself again and again and again and again. I hope some of my moderators are here because I haven't I don't have an opportunity to read the comments, but I'm just going to say to my moderators, if anything go down in the comment section, please just delete. I'm saying if anything happens, you have my permission to don't delete the comment, just delete the person, block the person from the chat because I haven't had a chance to read the comments yet. But this whole entire situation is horrible. I mean horrible. Watching The Guardian, this is the picture from The Guardian. And you can literally see the fear in these people's faces. That's slave master mentality. You can see the fear in his face. That man was probably so scared. He probably didn't know what the fuck. I didn't know we was gonna run up on some shit like this. So why did he have to chase him down with that horse and treat him in such an inhumane way? I mean, not even treating him like he's human. Like, do these border patrol, do they forget that these are other human beings? That's what we deal with. You know, when white people want to understand where a lot of our anger come from and why we're so upset and why we have PTSD and why we will cuss your ass out in a heartbeat. This is why. This is why. This is exactly why. Look at these pictures. You will figure out why we act the way we do, why we talk the way we do, why we have the attitudes that we have, because we're sick of seeing this kind of shit. That's why. We're not just angry for no reason. We have a reason to be angry. We have a legitimate reason to be angry. Because we're tired of seeing people that look like us be disrespected and stepped on and beat and whipped and kicked out of a country when other people can come here in droves and get food stamps and Section 8 and Medicare. And some of y'all white people have the mitigated gall to talk about the people that were born here in this country on Medicare and food stamps. But you don't have a problem when the Afghanistanis and Pakistanis and all of these other people come here and give Medicare, food stamps, Section 8, low income housing, jobs, and everything else. You don't have a problem with them. But let Starkeisha with four babies go down to the food stamp office. You lose your damn mind. And Starkeisha was born here. Okay? Starkeisha was born here. And so was her parents, and so was her children. But it's okay for an Afghani or some other refugee to come here and eat up all of the resources of this country, and we give them everything. Like, they out here on welfare having the audacity to turn their noses up at us, can't even speak English, refuse to speak English in public or any place else, and have the audacity to look down at a person of color because they have learned that bullshit already. They already in other countries hating on black people, and we ain't never even did nothing to their ass. That's why we're upset. That's why. I mean, people living here can't even get, having a hard time getting food stamps or low income housing. People who have been here their whole lives. Do you know how long some people wait on the Section 8 housing list to get low income housing? Like today, when we drove through Oakland, it's like the homeless population, like it was bad when we were living there, but I'm telling you, it wasn't one freeway that we drove across that it wasn't somebody living underneath it. Like, we passed by this one area, And these people look like they had went to Home Depot or somewhere and like really built a shed up under the freeway. Like they had walls, a roof, and everything. And this is under a freeway underpass thing. I mean, they had literally built a structure with wood. They had a ceiling, a roof, four walls, and a way to get in like a door under the freeway. There should be no homeless people. If we are a rich enough country to house refugees, there shouldn't be anybody living on the street. Because if we have enough resources to take care of people that were not born here, people that we stuck our noses in their business. See, that's one thing. America needs to learn how to mind her own damn business, for one thing, and stay out of these other countries' businesses. Because, see, these countries have been fighting for years. They're going to continue to fight. Their fight started in the Bible. Their legitimate fight started in the Bible. You can research why these countries are fighting in the Bible. They've been fighting that damn long. So they're not going to stop fighting. So America needs to mind their business, take care of the people that are born and raised here. Let them people take care of themselves. Stay out of their damn business. But we can't do that. You know why? Because they got the oil. They have resources that we need. So we got to keep checking on them and see what they doing. Because somebody over there got to stay alive because they have resources that the U.S. needs. Hey, Phoenix. Hey, oh, there go Moss Mama. Hey, Moss Mama. We miss you, girl. Hey, Miss Jazzy. Hey, KK. Blue Royal. Who else is here? Beautiful Magic. Empress Yaya. I'm going to go back and read y'all comments. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Christine. Am I sideways on the screen? Oh, Lord, I just looked at it, girl. Why y'all didn't tell me? I'm glad I looked. Y'all wasn't gonna say nothing? Moth Mama said all immigrants are people who wants to go from one part of the world to the next. There's no reason to. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason to treat people the way that the Border Patrol was treating these people. I do understand. Okay, so yes, there we do have borders. There are people there to make sure that you follow the rules of the land and stuff. Yes, of course there are. But there has to be a way to do that with dignity. There has to be. I'm pretty sure. Maybe horses, I did read an article where they said that the horses are used in that area sometimes because of the terrain. The cars can't go into certain areas, and they use the horses because of the terrain and stuff. So it's easier for the horses to go in certain areas. I understand that. But to use the reins of the horse, in a whipping motion to another human being is just outright disrespectful. And if that Border Patrol agent did not know that, maybe he needs to be relieved from his duties for a while and go through some, what kind of training? What kind of training is it that they make these police officers go through when they do something stupid? Maybe he needs to, go through that type of training. Maybe everybody in his little group, because nobody told him, dude. If somebody take a picture of you doing that, we all gonna get in trouble. Nobody told him that. No, because normally the only people that are coming through the borders are generally people of color. Hispanic, like Hispanic people. I can't even imagine what the Hispanic people be going through when they be crossing the borders then. Coming from Mexico. I know they be catching it too. They just haven't gotten filmed yet. And it's going to be a bigger, they're going to make a bigger deal of it because this is how black slaves were treated. Like some people were saying, damn, it's like we going back in time. Those photos, and it's a lot of photos. It's not just one photo. There are a few photos of that particular incident. So I don't know if they were like rounding the Haitian, rounding up that group of people that had, made it across the border. I don't know if they were like rounding them up, but they basically was like, yeah, we're gonna catch you and you gonna get on something and go right on back to Haiti. And can you imagine, like, you made it to what you thought was a safe spot. You made it. You made it to land. And then you get there and the border patrol is there only to take you back. Can you imagine the pain and the pain and just the disappointment that these people are feeling? Because they're only coming here for help. They're coming here for resources. They're not coming here to party. They're not coming here to go to Trader Joe's or, Whole Foods. They're coming here to survive. Phoenix says the U.S. picks and chooses who they help. Israel first, then whomever. We intentionally destabilize others' economies. The U.S. has always had, if the country that is trying to come here does not have any resources and it's nothing that we can gain from helping them, we ain't gonna help them. But then, you look at if the situation was reversed in these countries. If something happened here in the US, who would help us? Where would we be able to run to? And I know it's the fact that we have done so much dirt now to other countries. We done got into so much funk with other countries that they probably wouldn't want to help us. You know what I mean? They would probably treat us, if we were running to other countries, say for instance something happened and we all had to run to Mexico. Don't you know that the Mexicans would be waiting for us at the border? And I don't believe that they would, just be beating up the white folks. I think they would get all of us. We all American. I don't think there is not one country that if something happened, we would be able to flood their borders as Americans and they would take us in. Because we have been in too much shit. It just, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like that was one of the, you know, most hurtful pictures I've seen in a long time. Extremely painful to just see that white man on top of a horse, just, treating him like he wasn't even human. Treating them like they herding goats or something. You know, like like he was an animal. He didn't even care. Like, I'm gonna treat you like I would if it was like a pack of goats or sheep or something. I don't even see, like, okay, so here in California, they do this thing where they um they release either goats or sheep to, eat the grass, the dry grass, weeds, and, dry grass near like the freeway areas and stuff. They'll release like a herd of either goats or sheep. And I've seen them get them back, herd them back to come back to the person. It's just a man. He wasn't even on a horse or nothing. He was just, using his hands. He didn't even have a stick or anything. He was just kind of, using his hands. Yeah. And the little goats was like, all right, man, I guess it's time to go home. He wasn't on a horse with a whip hitting these little goats. But you feel the need to get, treat someone in an inhumane way. I'm pretty sure the Haitian man spoke English. He could have just told him, "Go that way. Go over there. All y'all go over there so I can talk to y'all." Even if he didn't speak English, there is still a better way of communicating with someone than hitting them. And if you think that what these police officers did was correct, then you on the wrong channel. I just want to throw that out there just in case. So tell it like it is said, do I think this is a sign that you're trying to send to us, underlying without saying too much? I didn't see anything about charges being pressed. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think that that would work here. I don't think that, um, yeah, I don't think that the police can ride up on somebody with a horse and a whip in certain areas, and you know, think that that's gonna work. I really don't. And I really don't think that America wants a civil war. You know what I mean? I really do not. I really do believe that America will, you know, kind of do what it takes not to have a civil war. I don't think they want that. Now, they will funk with other countries, they will fight other countries, they will go to other countries and start shit, but they don't want that shit here. You know, like that old saying, you don't shit where you eat. You take that mess someplace else. It's only so much that America wants to deal with on their own land, and a civil war is not one of them. This is my belief. So I don't think that this is something that, you know, that the police are trying to do or trying to show us can happen. I don't think so. I really don't. Because I really believe that, you know, that's the kind of stuff that does start a civil war, you know. And we live in a country that everybody has guns. So it's not like it used to be when slaves did not have anything to protect themselves. That's the difference between, you know, slavery and now. They didn't have anything to protect themselves with. You know, they were being watched all the time. Their houses were, you know, basically being searched and everything. You know, they didn't have any privacy. So they didn't have anything to protect themselves. We do. We got everything they got. I mean, I'm pretty sure the military, I'm not talking about military grade weapons, but it's people on the street with real guns. And Pookie and Ray Ray, if it comes down to something like that, Pookie and Ray Ray, they gonna shoot back. People are going to defend themselves. This is not Kunta and Kizzy and Chicken George and no, them people dead. We on some whole different stuff now. And if a civil war break out, it's gonna be bad. And America don't want that. So they can, you know, do little, you know, incidences like this, and of course, you know, the police officer will probably get in a yeah, we on that new shit now. And they know that. They know if something happens, these people are going to fight back. And then it's going to get to a point where, you know, people that didn't even have anything to do with it will be getting hurt. Because, you know, people will be like, well, I just did that just because. And you know, you don't want your entire infrastructure to break down. Because, you know, when things happen like that, when you start to lose your infrastructure, that's when other countries look at you and you become vulnerable. Oh, they fighting each other. Let's jump in. That's a good time to get your kicks in. So, I don't think so. So, Civil Oracle said those Haitians been living in the U.S. They're trying to deport them because of some law called Title 8. and Title 28. I thought these were some Haitians that were trying to come here because of everything that was going on. Because they were crossing the border. So why would these be Haitians that were already here? Why would they be at the border? These were Haitians that were coming here because of what's going on in Haiti. Because a lot of the Haitians that are already here, they live in places like Miami. A lot of them are in Miami. They're in Florida. I mean, I'm not really sure what Title 8 and Title 27 is. And I don't, I'm probably not going to read it because this is really, I don't want to get into the whole political, um, you can't send links on here. They won't come up. I have them blocked. Um, I don't want to get into the whole political, this law, that, all that kind of stuff. I just want you to see what is going on and how these people are being treated. So, because to me, it doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter if they've been here or if they are coming here running from there. That part doesn't matter. They're still being treated wrong. Why it's happening, it doesn't matter. It's wrong. It's the issue. It's being hit and beaten by the police. That's the issue. Whether they lived here already or was trying to live, that don't matter. What matters is they're being disrespected, and they should not be. That's what matters. That's what's important. Just like people don't understand why black people are upset over the attention that this Gabby story has has received from the media. We don't hate white people. We just hate the fact that if it's someone white, they're going to get so much more media attention, media coverage, and 8 times out of 10, their case will be solved. They have a problem using resources, getting the FBI involved in everything to solve the case. They brought Gabby's remains back to her family. And there are so many black and people of color who are missing, whose families never get the opportunity to receive closure. That's why people are mad. My son and stepson was shot in Oakland. My stepson did not make it. My son, they were brothers. My son made it. There was um, video surveillance of the incident. They had the make and model of the car and partial um, plates. Partial plates. They didn't have the whole thing. They couldn't see it. A decent description of the young man that did the shooting, and that case has never been solved. The police spoke to us, you know, a few times. and kept the case open for a while, but the case was never solved. Now, had that been someone white, they'd have solved that case. They would have found out who shot two brothers. It's just the way that we are treated in America compared to white people. Now, this mother of this young man who has been missing since August, he's been missing for 23 days. And I don't even think the FBI has gotten involved in his case. And he was a college student. The FBI hasn't even gotten involved in his case. And so the mother was doing an interview and she is like, why is my son not receiving the same type of um, media coverage that Gabby received? What made Gabby? And you know, I keep seeing people saying, oh, she was America's daughter. America lost a daughter. I ain't lose shit. I didn't lose nothing. Because she was not my daughter. She was just some case that, you know, I came across that I found interesting. So, what makes a blonde haired, blue eyed girl America's daughter? Oh my God, she just touched everybody in the world's heart. Really? Or were we all just nosy and want to see the boyfriend because we know he did it? You know, no one wants to see parents hurting. You know, of course, I don't didn't want to see that happen, but that ain't my daughter, not mine. But America will always put a white woman on a pedestal. America has always revered and taken care of and adored and put on a pedestal the white woman. Always. And they always will. You know, all the comments of how beautiful she was, how young she was, you know, how loving she was. How do we know she was loving? You know, we didn't even know this girl. She only had one video on YouTube. She had a active Instagram, but we all have active Instagrams. But you know, you draw your conclusion from what? A bunch of pretty pictures. Like we didn't know this girl. She could have been mean and evil and racist and everything for all we know. We are just looking at her social media and drawing a conclusion from that. So I'm hoping that this mother will, you know, since she is speaking out about her son, I'm really hoping that this mother, you know, more attention will be drawn to her son's case. And, you know, they at least bring her the same closure that they were able to bring to Gabby's family. Sorry about that, sibling Oracle. She said my grandpa and my brother, both on my dad's side, was killed in a hit and run And my grandpa died first. 4 years later, my brother, who was 28. No one did time and no one was found. It's sad. But that kind of stuff happens to us all the time. Things that happen to us are just, kind of like swept under the rug. Missing black people are swept under the rug. The media is not going to show our faces, young black girls. They're not going to show them and call them pretty and free spirited and loving. All of these great adjectives that they attach to, they're not going to attach those to us. If one of us come up missing, they gonna be like, "Oh, well, she must have ran away. She was probably mentally ill, or she was probably on drugs. Like, did she do drugs? Oh, well, her mama is a dope fiend. She came from the hood, so she probably with Daquan somewhere. Did they check Daquan house? But not one time did they say anything negative about Gabby or her family. Not one thing. Not she came from a broken home. Not, she wasn't the best of students in high school. They didn't say shit about her or her mama or daddy. And had she been black, they would have been dug into her. They'd have had her report cards. They'd have been like, oh, when she was in the ninth grade, she was smoking weed. Somebody caught her behind the bleachers, humping on somebody. They'd have got her high school teacher, Miss Fannie Mae, who never liked her anyway, to come on and say, oh yeah, she was a difficult student. I could see her running away. But not one bad thing was said about Gabby. You know why? Because she's America's sweetheart. Blonde hair and blue eyes. America's prize. So they got to put her up on it. You bet not say nothing wrong about Gabby. I mean, it's people defending her in the comments. She was such a loving person. You ain't never met that girl a day in your damn life. She contributed so much to society. Looked like that girl worked at Starbucks. She was a barista or something. Looked like she worked at Starbucks, child. So how did she make such a great contribution to society? Slanging coffee? None of y'all knew her. But honey, I mean to tell you, white folks get hella mad. What you say about Gabby? I mean, they in tears. They didn't put up a memorial for her at the park and everything, honey. Don't y'all be on these websites talking about Gabby. Now, they gonna cuss you out. Because they hot as fish grease. That man killed America's sweetheart. Phoenix says 70,000 of us missing. And ain't gonna get found. Because they don't care. When it comes to resources, they don't care. I ain't never seen a police officer get choked up. I thought he was supposed, of all people, I thought he was supposed to remain professional. Honey, he got up there and like the broke down when they found Gabby's body. He up there choked up, can't even swallow his own spit. You didn't know that girl? You didn't know her till her case came across your desk. So why are you so choked up? Because it's America, sweetheart. We lost a beautiful one. I mean, he was like, the we found remains. I was like, if you don't get yourself together, I mean, I bet you he wouldn't have did that if they had found my little ass somewhere. Yep, we found her. She was in the woods. All right, press conference over. But honey, he was choked up. He out here about to have a heart attack over this girl that he had never met a day in his life. But it could have been my beautiful daughter. My beautiful daughter. She looks like my beautiful blonde haired, blue eyed daughter. That's why I'm hurt. So y'all pray for these people in Haiti. Now these are the people that you should be asking your ancestors to watch over. Now. You want to talk about, you want your ancestors to talk about somebody? Here it is right here. Here it is. This is who you ask your ancestors. This is who you bother your ancestors about and ask for protection. This. You don't get in that Caucasian mess. Let them deal with that. They got ancestors. Let them go to their ancestors. So they found her. But you want to help somebody, you want your ancestors to help somebody, you want to pray. Here, find that lady whose son is missing. Speak his name. We got to start helping each other because um, this world is not designed um, to help us. It never was. It wasn't founded, like the foundation is not to help black people. That the foundation never has included us in nothing. Period. So we're only going to get so much help. They just really don't want to do things out in the open now because of the way social media is. They know we will riot. If things get real bad, like we will be out here acting a fool. But they won't help. Like they won't do anything extra to help us. They'll do a little bit, but that's about it. So some things we have to be on the back end trying to work out. You know what I mean? Let them do what they gonna do on the front end. And we have to be on the back end. And that's what our ancestors have always done. They would be on the back end praying, running to the woods, doing what they could do on the back end. And we need to keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. Do like they did. Do your stuff in private. You don't have to show them everything that you're doing. You can still be doing what you need to do on the back end. But we need to be doing something. Yaya said they act a fool in Birmingham. Girl, I know they will. Well, I don't have a problem, um, you know, giving my blood. And I'm not really a proponent for home births. And it's probably because I have seen many of them not go in the direction that they should have. And had the baby have been had been born in the hospital, they would have survived. But because they took that chance to have the baby at home, there wasn't the life-saving medical equipment there, and they couldn't get to the hospital quick enough to save the child. I know back in the day, midwives and, what we call now doulas, other women um, did a lot of births. My mother was a midwife. But like she said, when things came up, if there was any complication, there was only so much a midwife can do. And I know back then there were no black hospitals, very few and far between. So they had no other resources. But now we have those resources. There is no reason for a baby to die at home from a healthy mother and a healthy child, for something to come up that could have been prevented at the hospital. Because my granddaughter, when she was born, had that been a home birth, she may not have made it because her shoulder um, got stuck in her mother's pelvic bone. And they didn't know that until, she started showing signs on the monitor. And they had to call in a specialist to help deliver this baby. Now, you delivering a baby at home, you don't have that. And I do understand that, there are a lot of women that don't trust doctors and, all of this kind of stuff. But I just believe that we have the technology, so why not use it? So I'm really, really not a proponent for home births. Even when the mother is extremely healthy and she's had no problems during her pregnancy, during that birthing process anything can happen. And I just feel like you need to be in a hospital where they can take care of you. And I know that things happen in the hospital. Babies, also die in the hospital, but at least in the hospital you're giving your baby a better chance than, you know, calling an ambulance after the fact, after something major has already happened. That's the way I feel. Okay? And we have to understand everybody has their opinion. Just because this is how I feel does not take away from how you feel. You can still feel the same way you feel. This is Omo Oshun's opinion. You having an opinion. And we should be able to be adults and talk about these opinions together. You give your side, I give my side. Respectfully. Because if you get disrespectful, somebody gonna take you off this channel. That's how we work around here. I mean, I didn't. Did I? No, I didn't have a black doctor with either one of my children, and they were good births. My granddaughter was actually delivered by the same doctor that delivered her father, which is my son. And she's a specialist at this hospital. And when they started having problems, they pushed that emergency. When they pushed that emergency button and all them doctors and nurses started running in that room, I knew it was a problem. And then this little doctor came in. Well, two doctors came in, and the nurse told her what was going on, and she just immediately went to work. And then a male doctor came, and they got my granddaughter out. And I didn't really realize who she was because my son is now 30. At the time, no, at the time he was in his 20s. He was like 21. So it had been 20 years since I had seen her. And they called her name. And I was like, Dr. Yogam. And I was like, and then I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, you delivered her father. And she was like, really? I said, yes. I'm the grandmother. You delivered my baby 20 something years ago. Now, had Amani been born at home, there may have been a different story. You just never know. In the whole pregnancy, her entire pregnancy was fine. She had no complications there. They didn't know that, on the way out, Amani was going to, stick her shoulder up and not be able to get out. How would they know that? So I'm just, because a friend of mine, I'm going to tell this story. A friend of mine had her, she wanted to have a home birth the whole entire time. From the time of conception, she, from the time she found out she was pregnant, she wanted to have a home birth. So everything was set up, everything was in place. The people that, she wanted to be there was there. I think she had a water birth. I think they, did the pool and the whole 9 yards. So she was having a hard time. Like the labor was very intense. The home laboring went on longer than it should have. I think that midwives and doulas, they should have a cutoff. If the baby is not here, after the mother has labored at home for um, so long, they should just take her to the hospital. So in this case, they didn't. They didn't take her to the hospital. This young lady labored so much that she was pushing so hard that she was had broke blood vessels in her eyes. Baby, did they get the baby out or did they take the baby at the hospital? I can't remember that part. But anyway, the baby was born not breathing. They worked on the baby. They did get the baby to um, start breathing, but the baby only lived 3 days. I'm not sure how long she labored at home, but it was too much. I mean, she had broken blood vessels in her eyes because she was pushing so hard because they kept telling her to keep pushing. And I don't know who finally decided, after all of this time to, they didn't even call an ambulance. It's hot in here, and I do have the windows open. They didn't even call an ambulance. They took her to the hospital by car. And they got there and they delivered the baby, and he didn't make it. And this situation put such a strain on that family that her and her husband got divorced. They, it was just crazy. It was just so much. And I just felt like if she had had her baby in the hospital, that baby would still be here. And I think she went into a major depression. Like she left the state of California and everything. Like she moved. She left everything and just packed up and after she healed and everything, she just moved. She just couldn't deal with anything. And I blame that situation because I'm going to always believe had she had that baby in the hospital, that wouldn't have happened. And that's not there's a lady on YouTube that has her story about a home birth and what the midwife did to her. Come to find out, this midwife had lost another baby before, and she really shouldn't have even been delivering babies. It's a whole story on YouTube. So I just feel like, it is just safer for mothers to give birth in the hospital. You can give birth squatting. They will let you squat in the hospital if you have the right doctor. You can squat in the hospital. They have squatting, birthing balls, all that. You can have a water birth in the hospital. So everything that you want to do, you can have your midwife and doula in the hospital with you, and then the doctor will just come when it's time to actually deliver the baby. It's just safer. It's just safer. Like that messed up their whole family. She left her husband because of that. That just messed them up. They were never right. They had another child, um, and they had a girl first, and then this was a little boy. So I don't know. That would be me. I would want to be in a hospital at least to give my baby, you know, if something was to happen. Like I never had um any complications with either of my children. Like both of my kids were born and they didn't have to like go to the NICU or anything. They were just regular vaginal births. Moth Mama said I had two home births and I was going to have Kingston at home, but I needed an epidural. Yeah, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, that they can't be successful, but it would just scare me. It would just scare me. It really would. Yeah. I mean, you would really have to be with a midwife that you really trusted. But if anything happened, they say that you're supposed to have some type of safety plan or whatever if, things start to go awry. No, don't drive me to the hospital. Call an ambulance. because when they call an ambulance, if something happens, at least they can be working on you on the way to the hospital. If it's just you and the midwife, you on your own, especially if it's just the two of y'all in the car. She can't work on you and drive. At least if they call an ambulance, the ambulance can be, if you deliver the baby in the ambulance, at least there's someone there to take care of you and the baby while the other person is driving. That's why they say if something happens, call an ambulance. Don't try to drive the person to the hospital. Don't try to drive a person that is having a heart attack to the hospital. Call an ambulance. They have medicine and everything that they can be giving this person on the way. You have nothing but speed. So yeah, I mean it happens. I saw a woman not too long ago had her baby while her husband was driving. The baby just popped out. Some babies will just slide out. But I mean, it's a blessing because what if the baby had slid out and it wasn't breathing? And y'all in the car driving. Every woman's body is designed to birth a baby, sweetheart. We all have babies. They all come out. They gonna come out one way or another. Every woman's body is designed to have a baby unless there's something wrong with you. Even a woman that has to have a cesarean, your body is still designed to have a baby, one way or another. Because having a baby by cesarean is no different than having a baby vaginally. The baby came out, you still carried that baby full term. You just had to have a little bit more assistance getting it out than the baby coming down the birth canal. And we need to normalize that. Don't put yourself on a pedestal because you were able to deliver a baby vaginally. You are no different than any other mother. Just because a woman had to have a cesarean does not mean that her body was not designed to have a baby, because it was. She carried that baby 9 months. It just went through a different exit. That's why there's more than one exit for all buildings. You can go out the front door, the back door, the side door, and that's how babies are. You can come out the front door or the side door. Some of them come out the side door and the mother was still capable. Because some women do have that feeling that, superiority feeling that, oh, because I had a vaginal birth, I'm better than. No, you're not. You're not. Yeah, girl, if your mama carried you 9 months, she is capable of having a baby. It don't matter that you came out cesarean. You could have came out feet first, head first. She still had you. And we have to normalize that because a lot of women do have that. Well, I had a vaginal birth with no epidural. I didn't have no epidural. I did not. I had a two vaginal births, no epidural. But if you were fortunate enough to, they weren't just giving out epidurals in the 80s. They wanted you to have that baby. It wasn't normal back then like they do epidurals now. They wasn't doing that back in the 80s when I had my kids. Well, I had my kids in the end of the 80s. They weren't doing that then. But you know, my situation is no different than anybody else's just because I had a baby without an epidural. I That's just the way they did things back then. But I don't consider myself to be any tougher or any more woman because hell, it hurt. It was still painful. I still didn't want to do it again. Like that's like nothing that I don't wear that as a badge of honor because it was painful, it was uncomfortable. I didn't like it. If they had gave me an epidural, best believe, not with my first son because he was just like, "Oh, let me get out of here." Boop. His wasn't that bad, but that second one, my mother, my mother said that when you had uh, bad, really bad labor back in the country, she said that death used to fly. The angel of death would fly over a laboring mother's head, and I swear to God, I saw it. I was in just that much pain. And they still didn't give me an epidural because they just wasn't doing that because they felt like, oh, the baby will be here. I mean, he did eventually come, but I don't wear that as a badge of honor. And, you know, I don't want women to do that because it sometimes makes women who have had to have a cesarean or something, it kind of diminishes them in a way. It makes them feel like, well, I did something wrong or I may not be as strong as you. No, sweetheart, if you carried a baby for 9 months and you brought that baby here, you strong as hell. Period. Okay? So, I'm not going to let you do that one. You know, I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm special because I can't. No, girl, we all special. We all out here special. All of us. And if you were not able to carry a baby, you're special too. You still special. You're still a woman. It does not diminish the fact that you're a woman just because you know you were unable to carry a baby or you know something happened to you. You're still a woman. You're still beautiful, and it doesn't diminish anything about what you are. Like I'm no more of a woman than you because I had two babies. You're still a woman. You're still special. Okay. God, girl, you done had 5 kids? You did it 5 times? I ain't never wanted to have that many kids. Yeah. Some women are meant, you know, to just be an auntie or just to, you know, love on somebody else's kids. And there's some women out here that don't want kids. Ain't never wanted kids. That's just they thing. You know, I do feel really bad for women that, you know, want kids and can't, you know, and can't have them. I do. I really, really feel like, you know, they have a special place in my heart. And one of the young ladies that I watch on YouTube, I can't think of her name, but she had a baby. Like, I followed her infertility journey. Um, and she finally had a baby. Luann, I think her name is Luann. She in Texas. And so I think at 20 weeks they found something wrong with the baby's heart. I think. I think they saw something on the scan that was that the baby had some type of heart defect or something. So I saw on her Instagram that the baby is in ICU. And I'm like, oh my God. because she wanted that baby so bad. They tried so hard. Like they had to do, like she had to do the shots, the hormones, and all of that egg retrieval and all of that stuff for her to get pregnant. And she got pregnant, and now it looks like it's something wrong with the baby. And the baby is in the ICU. So, I've really been praying for her because you don't want to go through all of that. Like you didn't went through all of that fertility stuff, and then you have a baby and you're so happy, and the baby get here and something happens. I mean, that I hate when little flies get in the house. That is just so devastating. So devastating. KK says she leaving. I'm about to leave too, y'all. My mouth getting dry. Okay, KK. Who are you talking about? They wanted 18 kids. Girl, what you want 18 kids for? Oh, Lord, no. I ain't never wanted more than two or three. I ended up with two. That's it. 18? Do anybody watch that girl named Peach? What's her channel? Peaches or something? Peach. She called her people Peach Patch. And I think she got what, five or six? And she was doing a video today talking about, basically saying she wants more time away from her kids. She wants, like, girl, didn't you realize having five or six kids, they were going to take up the majority of your time? And they're all like stair steps except for the oldest one. I think he's 13. And then all of the little ones are kind of like stair steps. And she just had a baby not too long ago. Don't nobody want to keep like five kids but your mom or somebody. And even that, your mom shouldn't have to take care of your kids while you run the streets if you wanted them babies, so you have to take care of them. That's part of being a parent, is taking care of the kids. Like, y'all have to realize when these babies come, they're your babies 24/7. You can't run the street and go to concerts and do all of this kind of stuff and film videos without your children when you have a house full of kids. That's the kind of stuff you need to think about before you have a baby, especially when you're having multiple children. How am I going to film my YouTube videos? How am I going to work? Who's going to babysit my children? Who's going to keep them when I need a day to myself? Mothers don't get days off. It's a lot of work. I only had two, and I would feel overwhelmed. I can't imagine five. I just can't. And one of her children has autism, and he does not seem verbal. He doesn't seem really verbal. I think he can talk, but I don't think he talks a lot. So yeah, it's got to be overwhelming for her. But that's when you start to say, maybe I shouldn't have as many. Because they do take up, children take up a lot of your time. A lot. Um, what is the safest birth control? Should I get my tubes tied? Girl, I don't know. You have to do what's safe for you. birth control, the hormones and stuff that they have in birth control now, I really would be scared to deal with them. I really would be. You have to find out, what works for your body. I haven't, had to deal with any of that kind of stuff in years. I'm on the opposite end of the end y'all on. I done went through menopause. I'm towards the end of my menopausal stage. I'm still having hot flashes, but a lot of the mood swings and um, inability to sleep and all of that, night sweats and all of that kind of stuff, a lot of that has passed. I still occasionally have hot flashes, but a lot of the other stuff I think has kind of settled down. Um, my weight hasn't settled down, but I think that will too eventually, because I think I'm kind of like at the end of the menopause thing, and I haven't taken any type of birth control since I was in my 30s. So that was 20 years ago. So now I know that things have to be totally different now than they were 20 years ago. Yeah, most men have very weak pull-out game. So that would not be something that I would trust. Like, that's something that you have to, you know, talk to your doctor about and see what works for your body. Especially if you don't, I mean, if you don't want to have any more kids, then yeah, get your tubes tied. That's a final solution. But if you're thinking, if you have an inkling to want another child, then I wouldn't do that. But yeah, if you want to do something permanent, you know for sure that you finish having kids, then get your tubes tied. That way you know that there ain't gonna be no more. Moth Mama says she been celibate since 2017. Girl, you go. You got superpowers. You got, girl, what, you got a lock down there? You got superpowers. That's a long time. Who said you was gay? Dark goddess. Who said you was gay, girl? Oh, she said nah, just trauma. Empress Yaya said I haven't reached me either, girl. I ain't never been. I don't think I've ever. Nah, I haven't. I'm not even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna sit here and lie to you. I ain't never went that long. I'm gonna keep it 100. Never went that long. I think I would probably go crazy. But honey, I mean, but if that's what it takes for you, you do that. You know what I mean? Do that, girl. Whatever works for you, if that's what works for you, do it until you find, the right person. Because if you out here getting tangled up with these dudes and mixing your energy with theirs, and you don't, most women don't even give themselves an opportunity to learn about these men and find out some of the stuff that they've been through. And here you go, tangling yourself up with them and their crazy energy. And here you go receiving all of them crazy, mixed up um, sperm with abandonment issues and anger issues. Even the sperm got that jacked up DNA, and here you go receiving all of that stuff because you didn't even really give yourself an opportunity to find out who the person was until before you had sex with them. Because if you stay with a man long enough and you really get to know him, like that man is really talking to you and you really get to know him, you will find out what issues he done been through. And then if you do all the talking and stuff before you have sex, you will understand, okay, well, this ain't the one I want. I can't deal with him because he crazy. Stop putting yourself in a position with these crazy dudes and having babies by these crazy dudes. And then after you done had the baby, you realize how really crazy he was. And all of that could have been avoided if you had taken the time to find out who he was before you had sex with him. Gosh, Dark Goddess says she been celibate since 2006. Y'all must got some kind of force field. Y'all must put up like some kind of force field around you to combat the energy. You have to. That's your superpower. Okay? Girl, I have to live a peaceful life. I'm one of those kind of people that if my life is not peaceful, I'm not happy. My life has to be, you know, peaceful and quiet. I done been enough, I think when my kids were teenagers, that was some of the worst times of my life because I think I have I may be on the autism spectrum because noise bothers me like severe like I if where I'm living is too noisy, it bothers me mentally, like it messes me up mentally. And raising two teenagers, like they were both teenagers at the same time, so it would be music playing downstairs because my youngest son's bedroom was downstairs. My oldest son's bedroom was upstairs next to my bedroom. And these bedrooms had the townhouse we lived in had really thin walls. So there would be like music playing downstairs under me because his bedroom was under my bedroom, and then it would be music or the Xbox or my son on the Xbox screaming at other people, with his headphones on, not realizing like how loud he was. So he would be playing music that he probably couldn't even hear. And on the Xbox, like screaming at people, and all of this stuff was, would be going on constantly. And you talk about somebody that was literally crazy. That was me. I was so happy when the both of them moved out and the house was peaceful and quiet. I do much better when the house is quiet. I just like quiet. I don't like listening to other people's music. Um, I don't play my TV that loud. If I'm listening to music, I usually have my headphones on. If my husband is listening to music, he usually has his headphones on, unless he's, playing his vinyls. But then it's still comfortable, he's not playing music like heck loud with speakers and, shaking the room and stuff. Because noise bothers me. And it always has. And my kids never understood that and they never cared. Kids are noisy. They are just noisy. Like my son running up and down the stairs, like, what are you doing? How many times are you going to go downstairs? Slamming the front door, slamming the microwave door hecka hard. Like just making unnecessary ass noise. I was so glad when they moved just because the noise stopped. So I can't imagine being in a house with 5 or 6 kids. I really can't. Two was enough. Two two kids and two dogs, that was enough. I can't. I cannot, Queen Nita, I cannot take noise. I never have been able to. And I think part of it is because I was an only child. It was just me and my mother, and both of us were very quiet people. And that's how I grew up. And then when I had these noisy ass kids, they drove me crazy. They drove me crazy. I love peace and quiet. I love it. I crave it. Peace and quiet. I get up in the morning now and I just like lay in bed cuz it's so quiet. If Gizmo is like in his crate because he is crate trained. So if he's in his crate and he be in there scratching or I can hear all that. I'll be like, Gizmo! And he'll stop. He'll be like, oh shit, she heard me. I don't, be quiet. Shut up. I'm gonna go, y'all. We had 100 minutes. And it's hot in here. I should have opened both of the windows, but I only opened one. And it's only air coming from one area. Plus, I need to did anybody my husband said he had some pictures of the full moon and he forgot to send them to me. So if he sends them to me, I will post them. But did anybody take any pictures last night of the full moon? Did anybody get any good pictures? Because the weather was nice here. It wasn't overcasty. So people in the Bay Area should have got some nice shots. I'm going to go outside now and see where the moon is. So I might see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Maybe we'll do some readings tomorrow. Maybe we'll do some card readings tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. It may be like probably around this time. Okay, because my husband's schedule changed. So he's going to work later now. So it'll probably be around this time. Again tomorrow. So what time was it? Like 6 o'clock my time or something? What time is it now? It's 7:25. So yeah. So like 6 or something. Okay? I love you guys and I'll talk to you later. Love you. Bye.